Well, I think he'll give our team a jolt. I just think, just his presence alone from a leadership standpoint means a lot to this group. Um, you know, the hockey side of it goes without saying. He's a terrific hockey player, as we know. So it'll be nice to get him back.
You look at, and this is an expression you also, you look at the skill you're adding into a top six group now with Vincent Trocheck back and Perreault and the skill that he has as he tries to develop into an NHL player. How does that change? What do you think that does to change the look for your team?
I just think it makes us deeper. It makes us deeper. It gives us more balance. You know, the thought process with Gabe, he's had a pretty decent start, especially most recently in Hartford, and he's an offensive player that has really good instincts on that side of the puck. So our intention is to try to set him up for success so he can play to his strengths. So, in other words, I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense to call a player up like that and put him in a bottom six role where, do you understand what I'm saying? So, I think he's a guy that potentially could help us if we can get the best version of him. So, it's a great opportunity for him. We're excited to watch him.
He talked about needing to learn some things and work on some things while he was in Hartford. How well did he do with those things? Wall play and defense and all that kind of stuff. What are the reports?
Yeah, the reports are that he's played really well, and especially most recently, I think, there was a little bit of a slow start. I think that was the whole group, but I think since then, I think Gabe's game has evolved in a lot of ways. So, he's had a number of games there now, and we're hoping that he can bring that confidence to this group, and we obviously know what his strengths are, and potentially could help us build a little bit more offense.
How much of the conversation is wanting to jolt the offense a bit and feeling like he can help you there versus wanting to make sure that he's ready, that he's had ample time in Hartford to work on the things you want him to work on?
Yeah, I think that's the balancing act. That's the balancing act is we want to try to put players in positions to succeed, and so ideally we were trying to give Gabe some time down there to build and develop his game physically and otherwise, in the hopes that when he does get called to New York, that he has the ability to be successful. And so I've obviously talked to Chris after the game the other night, yesterday, when the decision was made, and it was a lot of it's based on Gabe's own performance down there and what we think the needs of the Rangers are here at this particular point in time.
Is there any kind of minutes restrictions on Trocheck coming back after the episode?
No.
When you look at tonight, is there anything you want some more of or less of in this challenge tonight?
Well, I think the challenge is that we've got to find a way to put the game on the ice that we're capable of playing, and I think there's a number of reasons, I think, behind performance and how that evolves. I don't think the game that we played the other night was characteristic of this group overall throughout the course of this early part of the season. As I said to the group this morning, going into that game, we won 4 out of our last 5 against some pretty good teams. So we won 4 out of our last 6. Our challenge is, I think our guys want to win at home so badly that sometimes they're trying too hard, and that can cloud judgment, decision making. It has a ripple effect on players, and that's the human element of sports. It may appear as though, hey, they're not trying hard, when my experience has been with players is it's just the opposite. But it's not instinctive because they're trying to force things. They're pressing. And that's our challenge, is to help each other through that process.
Do you feel like with Trocheck back and putting him with Lapp and Panarin again, that'll help those two guys?
I would like to believe it would.
What do you see from Gabe during both rookie camp and training camp? I guess it's still not team.
I'm sorry?
What did you see from Gabe during both rookie camp and training camp? I guess still not team.
Well, I think, I think his biggest strength are his offensive instincts. He sees it pretty good, and he can make plays. He has the skill level to execute. He's a good playmaker. And, he's playing with two pretty good players. And so I think those guys can help him in the other elements of the game, whether it be his play away from the puck or some of those details associated with that. But I think Gabe will be able to help those guys with his offensive instincts. I think he has the ability to get those guys the puck in the right areas. So, we're hoping that he can give our group a boost from that standpoint.